Hi everyone, it's Trisha from Tattoo Stories. I'm here in beautiful Port Townsend, Washington State on the Olympic Peninsula. And a couple of days ago, I was in a retail store. Standing in line, I let this woman go in front of me, and I heard her asking the gentleman behind the counter about his tattoo. I didn't hear the response, but I could tell that he was cool with it. So when I got up, I just started telling him about my new YouTube channel, and thankfully he was into it. He started telling me a fantastic story. I feel truly, truly lucky and blessed to share his story with you. And I'm going to duck out of the way and let Daemon here share his story.
Yeah, thank you.
Yay!
All right, so story time. So each one of my tattoos has a different story, as I believe all tattoos do. But the one that I'm going to talk about right now is this pretty one right here. Now I got this one just a handful of weeks ago by a lovely tattoo artist by the name of Sonia, and Sonia does strictly traditional tattooing methods. She is trying to return tattooing to its roots, and you can find her on Serpent of Dreams on Instagram is where she operates from. But so this tattoo marks in a way, the 12-year anniversary, as well as me becoming a priest in my faith. So I am pagan, and it has been 12 years since I started my path. So pretty much I'll talk about the ceremony. The ceremony was in several parts and rather intense. So we started off with what's called the Hape ceremony, which is this South American snuff that you use with a coripe, which is two tubes in a V shape, and you place it in your nostril and you breathe it in. It's kind of like almost like an inhaler. And so what this snuff does is it opens up the airways and it presents a calming feeling all throughout your body. It's really good right before meditation. Gets you kind of mentally prepped if you're going to do further ceremonial work.
Cool.
So we proceeded to do this. Now what we used is not the coripe, we used the tepe, which is the longer one. It's a tube about that long with another one jutting up like that, and it's used between people. And this one is it's very sacred. It's about combining energies. When you trade energies, when you are doing the work together, it's like sharing water. It's just inherently sacred to do.
So how is the person on the other end chosen? Or who is that person?
Chosen?
Right, who is the person on the other end from you, if you use that?
Use it so the tube sticks up like this.
Mm-hmm.
And so what they do is they place it in your nostril.
Right.
They have already preloaded the snuff into the tube, and they gently blow it up each nostril.
Right, I was just wondering if that was a certain person ordained to do that, if it...
There's not a lot that I can really speak on that specific culture, just because it is not necessarily my culture, nor do I know a lot about. Okay. I know a little bit about it, but it is mostly a closed practice, and so it is a high honor to even partake it in the first place. Right. And so I was given the opportunity by this woman, Sonia. And we shared this, and it was beautiful. So what I felt in my body was, she blew it up each one of my nostrils, and I just leaned back, feeling like I could breathe, like actually breathe for the first time in a long time. I felt all of the tightness in my neck drain away, and in my shoulders drain away. And I was able to breathe with more more life in my body, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So then we proceeded with the ceremony of there's a particular type of chocolate truffle. Amazing individuals make it on Emporium Black. They make this delicious chocolate, and they make several different types. The one that I got was a belladonna and rose truffle.
Oh, yummy.
And belladonna, now if the people viewing this will most likely know what belladonna is.
Right.
But for those of you who don't, belladonna or deadly nightshade is a very highly poisonous plant, but in micro doses, and is to only be used in times when the people giving it to you knows what they're doing, and knows how to dose it properly.
Right.
But it is found that in micro doses, that this substance can cure and heal a bunch of different things.
Right.
Colic being one of them, depression, anxiety, and relieve symptoms of different mood and personality disorders. This is according to certain studies.
Right.
So make sure that you're always checking in with your doctors before you use these substances. So we took this chocolate. Now this belladonna, what it also does is it presents a euphoric feeling in the body. It makes it very sensitive, but it presents a very sacred atmosphere as you follow into whatever you are to do. Took this. And we meditated for a bit. We prepared. We got the area around us ready. A stone crystal circle around essentially the bed / like altar essentially, with crystals all around like that, candles at the points, and then I laid down on the bed on the nice old cushions there. She began tattooing, and she used this, it's a 5-liner tattooing needle, so it has like 5 little needles on it, and she just slowly went away at it.
Oh, wow.
And so in the mixture we had the black obsidian, we had the dragon's blood, and then the red ochre. Now I chose that. So in my tradition, when you become a high priest, you are given the ability to create a coven and also create your own tradition. And so my teacher before me, she had pretty much the same tattoo, but hers was blue. And in that recipe, there was one of the ingredients was a beetle that was of a blue color, that gave it its signature tint to it. And so when I got my ordination, I was allowed to choose my color as well as the ingredients that would go into it, what would make it sacred, what I would be connecting to.
Okay.
And so what I wanted is, a lot of my path is to honor my ancestors. So I chose red ochre. Red ochre takes us back to the beginning of our species first creating art, first creating pigments. That was the first pigments, red ochre. So I wanted to connect to our very first, even those who came before them, who were the Neanderthals, the Denisovans, and so on and so forth, individuals that used the same pigments that we went on to use. I wanted to connect to them and connect to the first magic.
Cool.
Then, with black obsidian, I wanted to, in a way, do the same, because black obsidian was used for even longer than pigment was. It was used to make tools and to get food and to get prosperity and to protect. It was used for a multitude of things, and so I wanted to tap into that.
Awesome.
And then there was the dragon's blood. Dragon's blood, I in it have had a very intimate experience throughout my life. It has always been something that's been quite empowering to me. And I came to find out, during my education, that that's what this substance does, is it empowers. Whatever it comes into contact with, it empowers. It enlivens, it strengthens, it protects. It gives it vitality. It gives it energy to work with, so you can then use that on combined with other energies to heal, to protect, to do whatever you need to in the community. And so I combined all three of these substances, and I put them in the ink. And she proceeded for about 3 hours to tattoo me.
Oh wow.
And it was harrowing, because each substance that I ingested prior to this had made my body twice more the sensitive.
Oh really? Oh my
So
gosh.
I felt every bit, but that was part of it.
Okay.
It was part of the initiation.
Okay.
You know, the pain is part of the lesson. You know, it transforms you. That pain is like the fire that kisses your skin and melts away all that came before. And that's what these tattoos are for me. You know, is they're revealing who I am. Each one that I get, you know, is more of a revelation on my skin of who I am. And this one is for me the pinnacle of all of it. You know, I spent 12 years striving to get to the place that I am now. And I'm finally able to turn and face my community and with love try to help them now.
Right.
You know, so it marks a huge turning point in my life, where I was, you know, once a kid who struggled and, you know, strived to be better, who in some ways starved at times for a multitude of things. Now I can give back.
Right.
I can help people heal.
Right.
I can be the person that I needed to be.
You're putting that hand down to help out, to help them. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So this tattoo doesn't have one meaning. You know.
Got it.
That's what I've come to realize the more that I sit with it. You know, I had my reasons for getting it. You know, for my ordination to take upon this sacred mantle that many before me and many after me will take on. But there is so much more than one could speak of in a single lifetime. So, as you know, we tattooed for about 3 hours, and then we did the final ceremony, which was the harrowing one of all of them, where it's called the Sananga ceremony. And it's this particular eye drop that they use in the Amazon to hunt at night. And what it does is it dilates the eyes, and it is believed that it heals the eyes spiritually and physically. But the thing is it burns. It burns. But what I wanted to do is, going into my ordination, I wanted to have a clear sight so that I can see the best way to help people. And so I made that sacrifice. And so I laid back down, and she dropped a couple drops in each one of the eyes, and I proceeded to writhe for a good 10 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
As it felt like liquid lava was dripped into my eyes. I mean, it was an intense level of pain, but it brought out an understanding. And I don't know necessarily how to word that understanding, but it's a knowing about the world around you. You know, they were very much right when they said that it heals your sight. And
Okay.
it cleared a lot of maybe misconceptions I had about the world around me, about myself, you know, about how to love, you know, how to be kind, on how to provide for other people, you know, how to be a good and authentic individual. You know, I had done a lot of work on myself at this point, but as soon as those drops landed in my eyes, it was the next step.
Well, that's an amazing story about that tattoo.
Yeah.
And I just want to say something really quick.
Okay.
Just to explain the whole belladonna chocolate thing, is that one time a Native American gentleman told me that that he had taken something that was belladonna and sweet, and that's why I said yum. I don't want people to think I'm saying yum to poison, but he said that it had a very delicious taste, and then it also opened him up.
It's probably one of the best flavors and scents I've ever had.
Okay, good. Just want to clarify that to people.
There's a reason why they named it belladonna. It means the lady.
Right. And Bella is beautiful.
Exactly.
Right? So, okay.
So, but yeah.
Do we want to just say this is the end of part 1, or how do we want to do this?
Do we think we'll have enough time for this next one?
We can try.
Oh, let's try it. Let's do it. All right.
Keep going.
So, next story. So, we have this beautiful one right here. So right here, so first I'll explain that this entire tattoo is devoted to my ancestors. Now, my ancestors, on one side of my family, I am Scottish. On the other side of my family, though, I am Norwegian. And my grandmother immigrated here from Norway when she was about 8. And she would tell me the stories of our ancestors. She would tell me the stories of the gods, the Aesir and the mighty Vanir. She would tell me of the land of Aether, the spirits of the lands. She would tell me of men who were heroes and women who were queens and goddesses. And so this is a story of their path. So my ancestor, which is the reason why I got this is called the Aegis Halmer. So it originally started out in the Volsva, which is one of the Nordic texts, where the gods fight a dwarf turned dragon, Fafnir. And Fafnir had this stone in his brow, right about here, that protected him, presented an air of awe or terror, presented an awe, like an air of, why would you want to harm me? Whether that be, through terror, you looking upon this individual and being so scared that why would you want to harm this person, or looking upon the person and seeing such beauty that how could you harm them? And so they defeated the dragon. And this story traveled throughout time, in the knapsacks and the hearts of the ancient Norsemen as they traveled all around. And there was a young man he was young at the time. His name was Olaf Thorvald. And he came to a land that was unfamiliar to him. We know it now as Iceland. And so he was one of the first Norsemen to step foot and said that this is mine. And so he created an encampment, and that grew and grew and grew, and his son after him went on to found another land, Greenland. And his name was Eric Thorvald's son, Eric the Red. And his son went on to not find another land, but be the first of his kind to step foot on it. His name was Leif Erikson.
That's the first one I recognize.
Yep, the first European to step foot here in America. Now, we go back to Olaf Thorvald and the encampment that he had built in Iceland. Now, more and more of the Norse came to Iceland. They were escaping tyranny of the newfound Christian king and wanting to keep their pagan traditions. And so they came to Iceland so that they can continue to worship and honor their gods. And so they began writing stuff down, began transcribing, and they wrote down an idea called the Aegis Halmer. and it began to evolve over time, and it landed itself in a early grimoire. I think it was believed to be dated the 1400s. I am not entirely sure though. And in this grimoire, there was this image that looked very similar to this, with a word in Old Norse saying Aegis Holmer, or the Helm of Awe. And so they began tattooing themselves with this, and it began getting passed down throughout the ages as being a rune to protect yourself with.
Oh.
Now, talk about this, because they're in a way two stories but one. This is about the my physical ancestors,
Right.
but then we talk about the ancestors before the first ancestors. We talk about the Aesir, the Vanir, the gods. So this spells out in the Elder Futhark, and it means Yggdrasil. Yggdrasil is the world tree in Norse cosmology. Yggdrasil is a thing that unites all things into one. It is the way that Odin goes and travels among the 9 realms. It is the very tree that he hung himself off of in order to even divine the runes himself. It is at the base of this very tree that there is a well in which Odin would sacrifice his own eye so that he may see clearly. And so it is all of these multitude of stories. It is everything in one.
Huh.
It is connecting myself to my physical ancestors, letting them to guide me and to protect me. And is also uniting myself with everything.
Right. Which is one of the beautiful things we spoke about earlier.
Exactly.
And I believe it as well, is that we are all connected. Humans, animals, plants, Mother Earth. So, and I know that's a strong part of your belief
Exactly.
as well. So,
there's really no separation.
right.
And that is what this dictates, is that we like to think that we are separate. We like to think that I am separate from that bird right there. But the fact is I am that bird. That bird is me.
Right.
And it is the goal and the practice of the practitioner that we might remember who we are. That bird.
Yeah.
That tree. That flower. And that's really what this is a reminder of who I am. It's that if there ever comes a day that my mind fails me and I forget the teachings of my ancestors, I can look down upon my skin and see who I am.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, I guess that's the conclusion of this tattoo story, or tattoo stories. So thank you, and tune in. Hopefully I'll be back again soon.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Daemon.
Thank you.